Okay, welcome to 2 for Tuesdays. I'm Mo McClanahan and I am the Director of Education and Training with the Safe Surfing Foundation. I am also a high-tech crime specialist with the National White Collar Crime Center. And recently I retired after 20 years of law enforcement, where the last 8.5 were working in internet crimes against children. So again, tonight we are dual broadcasting between Instagram and our electronic detox challenge group in Facebook. And I'm really excited to be able to, dual broadcast and be in both locations at the same time and really just share some tips tonight. We had some of the participants share in a form what were some of the struggles that they were having at home, and then also what were some of the things that they wanted to learn on how to better safeguard their kids while using those electronics. And we are day 2 in our first week of this detox challenge. And for those of you that are catching us live and want to join this challenge, just make sure you send us a message, or you can put a comment below after the broadcast and let us know, and we will get you in there. There's still plenty of time, and we are actually going to be hosting this challenge for the next 4 weeks and continue to do these detox challenges throughout the year, each quarter. And it'll probably just be a week the next time that we run it, but we were super excited to launch this, and we thought 1 week isn't enough, that we need to be doing this multiple weeks. And even when I shared with my son that we were going to be participating in this detox, he was a little bummed about it. And I had to inform him that we've actually been doing the detox for about a couple weeks anyways, and I just never called it that. It was just new rules. And so now that he's heard that term, he was a little bit taken back, but he is on board, and he might still ask questions like, wait, why can't I do this? And honestly, I'm just gonna keep communicating what the detox is about, why it's important. And this week, our main activity that we are putting out there for the families to participate in when it comes to unplugging is to read a book, either finish a big book that they've started or start a new book, make it fun. I shared a graphic with 2 young girls that made a fort in their home and had a flashlight and just made it fun, like a fun activity. And then the participants will send us a picture of them reading the book, of the kids finishing it. And ironically, before I even told my son about the book, he's read the same book 2 days in a row. And so I was excited about that. You can't complain about that, right? So thankfully that this, we're doing it together and really just providing some guidelines to help parents really figure out this, electronic world and try to ease the kids away from them, especially now that summer is approaching and the kids are going to be outside. Why not provide this detox now so we can get them ready to unplug when the weather is gorgeous and there's activities to be outside. So having said that, again, I went through those forms of what the parents were looking for in our group when it came to better safeguarding their kids. And so I found several that were the same, which made for the perfect topic to start tonight, and that is gaming. So the questions were, how can I keep my kids safe on games such as Fortnite, Minecraft, and a new game that I haven't heard of is Apex. And they wanted to know if, when they're on these games, if strangers can approach them. And I'm here to tell you, yes, that these games can be very dangerous because predators know that the kids are on these games, and the predators go where the kids are. And so that's when you really need to be mindful when it comes to these settings, and making sure that for each game you are going through the settings and looking up online what the parental guides look like. I know with Fortnite, some of the settings that have really helped keep the strangers away and allow my child to still play without worrying about that, and that is the settings that requires them to play in a party, and that they can only play with people that they know. And so if he starts the party, then a stranger can't just be added into that competition. So I too had to read about all the different settings and the criteria when it came to keeping him safe and making sure that we were staying up to date on that. And then communicating it with him that he is not allowed to have friends online that he does not know in person. And we actually started out the conversation, the difference between online friends and real friends. And so online friends that he's never met are actually strangers, and friends in real life are the real friends, and that he is only allowed to communicate with them and play with them. So there were some times when he would communicate with his friends that he couldn't play with them if they had a stranger that he didn't know in that party. And unfortunately, there was some tough lessons to learn, that there were times that they chose the other person over him, and so he was smart enough to leave the party. He wasn't happy about it, and there was some tears, but he made the right choice. And that's because we communicate what our expectations are and why it's important for him to follow these guidelines and to keep himself safe. And there are times that he would come to me and say, so-and-so is allowing these strangers in his games. I think you need to tell his parents. And there were times that I did have discussions with the parents, because we actually set up times for them to play. So that was number one tip. Make sure that you are reading about what are the different settings that parents can set for your kids depending on the game that they're playing. So I know with Mindcraft, making sure that is it in creative mode, or are they connected to the internet, and are they in the battles, or I can't think of the term right now. I do play Minecraft with him at times, and so you know, he knows that I'm always around, and that anytime he's playing, I'm right there in the other room. So go through each of those and make sure you understand how you can best protect them, keep their privacy settings set, and have different either triggers. If they were trying to add somebody, maybe it'll notify you as the main administrator for the account. The other question, or the other tip that I have, and I kind of eased into that, is setting up times with real friends to play. I know, like when COVID first started and our kids were all home virtually, they were not used to not having that socialization with their friends. And so they needed that, and we understood that. So as a mom, I got with all the other moms, and we set up specific times for them to log in and all play the game together. So at the time it was Fortnite, and then eventually it became the game Among Us. So that's another one that there's different ways that people can contact your kid. They can either chat with them inside of the game, or they can send private messages. So making sure that you are fully aware of how these games work. The thing is, with Among Us, you have to have at least 4 players in a game to play. So if my child is just by himself and he's not coordinated a time with friends, then he might be going into a game with strangers And as long as I'm around him, he's allowed to do that because I can actively see the game. But most of the time, it has to be coordinated with friends, and we do that on the weekends, especially now that we are doing the electronic challenge. He does not coordinate with friends during the week, and we've allowed him to do that on the weekends. And he does that through the Messenger app with his friends. So they can chat, you know, verbally talk to each other while they are setting up a strategy in the game. And that's been really fun to hear them play and have a good time together, and just making sure that they're not allowing strangers in that game, that they share the code with just their friends and they don't open it up to the public. And some of this might sound like foreign language to you, but I highly encourage every parent, if you're allowing them to play these games, you need to get in there. You need to not necessarily enjoy it, but you need to play. You need to see what the interface looks like. You need to see where the chatting might be coming from, and you need to learn the settings that are going to be appropriate so that your child can still play and have fun, but be protected. And I know this is a topic that has been touched on here for Tuesdays in the past, but it's always a good refresher, I think, and especially with our new electronic challenge detox group, this is definitely appropriate and perfect timing to be going over this. So just a little recap when it comes to gaming online. Again, if the game requires the internet, then you can guarantee that strangers have access to your children. So number one, you need to learn the settings for each of the games that you're allowing them to play. And then number two, set up some coordinating times with real friends so that they can play in a very safe environment, and you know that they are going to have fun, that they have friends, and that they're going to be safe because everybody's communicated with each other that strangers are not allowed in the games, and just keep reiterating why it's important and why we set up these rules for them. And it is to protect them, and that is our job as parents, is to make sure that they are safe. So if you have questions, or if this broadcast really helped put things in perspective, or if you need your child to hear this from somebody else other than you as the parent, please share this. I, again, worked internet crimes against children for 8.5 years. These cases stemmed from gaming. I worked a case where an adult male who pretended to be a child friended a 13-year-old girl here in our community. And over a 1.5 years, they developed this relationship, and he was attempting to travel here to the state of Virginia from Canada. And it wasn't until 2 weeks prior of his arrival that her friends found out that he was actually an adult, and they told their parents, and their parents told the girl's parents. The girl's parents unfortunately did not believe them, believed he was a child, that he was 17, and that he was really trying to make it on his own, and that's why he had a job and was going to night school and just trying to take care of himself because he was in an abusive family. I intervened. I was contacted by some of the friends' parents, and within about 15-20 minutes I was able to identify him. I was able to identify him as an adult male. Instead of 17, he was 27, and that he had plane tickets to arrive here in Virginia from Canada, and that he had actually been abusing their daughter through Skype, through video chat, through text messaging, and that he was committing crimes against her through the internet. And honestly, if he were to have traveled to Virginia, we have no idea what his intentions were from there. And with the parents having full trust of him, had developed this relationship with him over the year and a half, they most likely would have allowed them to have like walked to the store alone, or, you know, possibly gone somewhere and they would have dropped him off at the mall at the time. Anything is possible. And thankfully the friends knew to tell, and that it's not a matter of tattling when your friend is in danger. So yeah, it's really important that children understand that the dangers are out there. And again, if you need to share this with them, you can let them know that Officer Mo, retired Officer Mo, is still talking about it, and that here at Safe Surfing Foundation, we are determined to continue to educate and empower both you, the parents, and the children to make safe choices while accessing technology. All right, guys, I hope you have an amazing night. Thanks for joining me. And again, you can find us here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for 2 for Tuesday. Have a great night.